7 ways that you might be losing money without even realizing it. We all do it, but that's perfectly okay. The important thing is that we need to bring awareness to it so that we can fix it and move on. Number 1 is that you're holding too much cash. It might come as a surprise, but a lot of people tend to hold on to a lot of cash in their savings account. And I'm talking like $20,000, $50,000 or more. Although it's great that you've been able to save this amount of money and you have it there for a rainy day, not investing that money and just letting it sit there is actually making you lose money. Inflation gradually reduces the purchasing power of cash. So while savings accounts are safe, they're not effective wealth building tools for the long term. A better way to allocate your extra cash is to invest it into an index fund or an ETF, which track along the S&P 500. The S&P 500 has a track record for increasing about 10% every single year. So it's a very passive way to make your money work for you and to fight inflation. Number 2 is avoidance coping. Avoidance coping is a psychological strategy where individuals avoid stress, anxiety, or uncomfortable emotions just by completely avoiding them instead of confronting them head on. So instead of dealing with the root problem or the root cause, people use avoidance mechanisms to avoid the whole situation and distract themselves altogether, or withdraw from the situation or the issue. While avoidance might temporarily reduce the anxiety around this issue, it often prevents the resolution for the underlying problem and leads to more negative effects in the long run. Now, when it comes to finance, avoidance coping can look like not opening your bills because you don't want to face the fact that you have bills to pay, letting the mail pile up, not opening your email to see what expenses you have coming through, not reviewing your credit card bill every few weeks or at least on a monthly basis to see what your spending is like. These are all examples of avoidance coping, especially when it comes to finances. It's kind of like you're just floating through life daily, trying to get by and avoiding taking responsibility for anything. And this is dangerous because this could lead you into a very vicious cycle of debt. A solution to get out of this space is to confront the issue head on and stop running away from it by identifying the problem, exploring solutions, and taking proactive steps to resolving the issue. Seek support from family, friends, or even a professional if you really are having a hard time dealing with this, and they can help you work through these problems. The third way that you're losing money without even realizing it is that you're not comparing prices. Not comparing prices is a subtle but very impactful way that people are losing money. Whether it's small, everyday purchases or really large purchases like a house or a car. Failing to shop around at different places or different vendors can really lead to you overspending unnecessary money that you didn't need to spend to begin with. Comparing prices at different places allows you to find the best value for your money, and it ensures that you're not overpaying for goods or services. By taking the time to check different stores or different vendors or services, you can actually find a significant savings for the same product or service. For example, internet service provider A might be charging you $89 a month for high-speed internet, whereas internet service provider B is providing that same service for $59. So had you just done the research, you would save $30 right there just by calling up 2 different people. Other examples include things like shopping for household items or groceries. Vegetables at Whole Foods will probably be 3 times the price than at a place like Aldi. Insurance is also a huge one. People tend to not really shop around for insurance much, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Make sure to compare your prices at different places when you're shopping. Again, whether it's for daily things like groceries or big things like insurance or cars. You can use comparison websites like Google Shopper or Price Grabber, and even leveraging price alerts. If you're getting any value at all from this video, it would really mean a lot to me if you went ahead and hit that red subscribe button. This way you'll be notified anytime I upload similar videos. Number 4 is that you're not tracking your expenses. This is one of the most common ways that people lose money today, is because, again, they're doing that avoidance coping, right? You don't want to see on paper how much money you're actually spending, because then you're like, oh shoot, I have to change my lifestyle or I have to change my habits. This is very normal and common. The simple act of neglecting to monitor what you're spending and where can really, really lead to you overspending and spending beyond your means. It can lead to poor financial decisions and missed opportunities for things like investing or saving your money. I cannot stress how important it is to budget your money. And this simply just means knowing how much money you have coming in every month, so from your job, like how much money you're earning, and how much money is leaving you, so your expenses. Things like your house, a mortgage, rent, car, insurance, transportation, groceries, things that, you have to spend money on. You just need to know what goes in and out. Knowing these basic in and out numbers will then help you to know how much money you have to allocate towards things like paying off debt or investing, and it'll help to ensure that you meet your future financial goals. By tracking your money, you can regain control of your finances and reduce any sort of financial stress. Number 5 is lifestyle inflation. This concept of lifestyle inflation is talked about in the book Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. And they talk about how as money increases, so you get a promotion or a raise at work, so do your expenses. So now that you have all this extra money coming in, maybe you decide you want to buy more expensive things and upgrade your lifestyle. Maybe instead of Lifetime Fitness, now you want to change your membership to Equinox, which is like $80 more a month. Although it's all fun and games, and I am definitely an advocate for investing into yourself and investing in things that will prevent you from burning out, this can also erode your ability to save money and invest. This phenomenon is also referred to as a lifestyle creep. It's okay to splurge a little bit here and there, but the solution to this, again, is really knowing how much money you have coming in and going out. This will allow you to allocate that extra money now towards investing, your future financial goals, but also allow you to know how much money you have to spend on things like maybe getting a house cleaner twice a month instead of just once a month. So just revisit your budget and reallocate the numbers accordingly. At least this way you will have transparency into your finances and you'll still be able to meet your financial goals without stressing or overspending. Number 6 is over leveraging with debt. This comes from principles found in Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, which emphasizes the difference between good debt and bad debt and how people lose money by mismanaging debt, particularly bad debt. Over-leveraging happens when someone borrows more money than they can comfortably repay. It means heavily relying on borrowing money or getting more debt to buy things, such as cars, vacations, consumer goods and products, and just buying things that often makes you go beyond your means. This can really get you into a very dangerous and vicious cycle of debt because you are required to pay that debt back on a very disciplined schedule, no matter what your financial situation is. So you have to come up with the money no matter what. This can lead to a lot of financial stress and drain. The largest and possibly most dangerous type of debt that we have right now, which 45% of Americans are indulged in today, is credit card debt. So yeah, 45% of Americans have credit card debt right now. And this is because a big mistake that people are making is they're only paying the minimum required amount on their monthly bill, and they are accruing interest very rapidly on the remaining balance. So now your credit card bill is 2 or 3 times more than it initially was just because of all that compounded interest that accumulated on that balance you didn't pay off. Now, a solution to tackling credit card debt is to, 1, just spend beyond your means. And again, this goes back to budgeting. Know how much money you have coming in and out so that you can budget accordingly and you are not spending beyond your means. And 2 is to pay off your credit card bill in full every month. And if you can't do that, if you don't have enough money to pay your credit card bill off in full every month, then that means that you are, again, not spending within your means. Number 7 is something called the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy refers to the tendency to continue investing time, money, or effort into something because you've already spent so much time, money, and effort investing into this thing. Even though it's clear that there are no future gains in this investment and it's kind of a dead end, you still keep doing it. People fall into this trap because they don't want to waste the time, money, and effort that they already put into this, hence the sunk costs. So instead of making a decision based on the current and future benefits, they are making a decision based on how much they have already invested into this thing. An example of investing in a sunk cost fallacy is investing in a stock even though it is now crashing or on the decline. Imagine that you buy some shares in a company, but a couple months down the line, that company shares start to rapidly decline. Now, instead of just selling off the stocks and cutting your losses, you hold on to those stocks because you think that there's still some hope that the price might increase at some point and you will still make your money's worth. You're just going to hold on to this hope that the price is going to increase because you've already invested so much of your money into this. Does the crypto crash of 2022 sound familiar at all? Another example is a business adventure. Say you started an online business a couple of years back and you spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of your effort building this business from the ground up. But a few years into this venture, it's still not making you any money and you're actually losing a lot of money, but you're having a hard time letting go of the business and calling it quits because you've already spent so much of your time, effort, and money into this business and pouring your heart and soul into it. So again, instead of just cutting your losses, you keep going even though you're losing money. A solution to avoiding this is to recognize sunk costs. Acknowledge that what you have spent, whether it's time, effort, or money, is gone, and at this point it can't be recovered. Past investments should not influence your future ventures or your future decisions. Focus on future returns and make decisions based on future value, not past costs. You have to detach emotions from these financial decisions, and that's the hard part. Make financial decisions based on evidence and logic rather than emotion. If you're holding on to something because of how much you've already poured into it, take a step back and ask whether future gains are likely. And if the answer is no, then you already know what to do. Now, there are a lot of other money traps that you could fall into that you really need to make an effort to try to avoid. And if you want to know more about that, then that's exactly what I go over in this video here. So I highly suggest you check that out next. I'll catch you in the next video.